So I was just telling Madison this week, I've noticed a theme already, and the theme has been based on the gods. So Monday's practice was based on Indra, who's the god of the skies, whose weapon is the lightning bolt. That was a really fun practice. It is going to be one of the recordings going out either Friday or Saturday. So if you're interested in that, let me know. The one we're going to be talking about today is Kama. And before I get too much into the god Kama, I want to mention the build-up pose. So we're building up to a peak pose today, and it's sugarcane. So this is a little bit of inspiration coming from Costa Rica back to you because, for instance, the food wasn't phenomenal. We went to great restaurants. It wasn't that the restaurants weren't great. It's just we had rice and beans almost every day, or you might get rice and shrimp, or the typical Costa Rican meal is rice and beans or tortilla and plantains and maybe a meat. We had this almost every day. And there was one day that we were out and I was honestly kind of sick of the food. And we went to this restaurant. It was a little spot in the road, a great restaurant, by the way. And I thought I would get fish tacos. So I got fish tacos, which I normally love around here. And honestly, I don't even know where the fish was in it. It was a lot of rice and potatoes, and it had a decent flavor. And also during this week in Costa Rica, we were drinking the greatest fruit drinks, like fresh squeezed strawberry, fresh squeezed pineapple, fresh squeezed mango, guava juice. And this particular restaurant, everybody was wanting like the fresh juices because we had just went hiking to the waterfall. And as much as I wanted the fruit drink, I didn't think it would taste great with the fish taco. Plus, I thought if the food's not great, I really want something to wash it down. So I got Coke, and I was really excited that the Coke didn't have the what is that? Not maple syrup. What is that called? You know what I'm talking about, like the fake sugar. And it had like the sugar cane. So I was really excited. And then the day before we left, we went to a coffee plantation and we were seeing how they grow fruit trees and flowers and herbs near the coffee so that the fragrance and the taste goes into the coffee. And they were showing us how to grind the beans at the end of that tour. And then they were also showing us how they would grind down big slabs of bark of sugarcane. And when they were taking it through that press, you'd put your cup up underneath and then it would drain all the sugarcane juice along with the pulp. So we all got to get a taste of that. So sugarcane is something I wanted to build up for because I was thinking about that memory. And I thought to myself, if there is a pose named sugarcane, then there must be some kind of tie-in with Indian mythology. So I decided to research it, and sure enough, there is. So the god, coming back to the god, Kama, he is the god of love. And not just any type of love. He's the god of passionate love, the love that brings desire, the love that produces lust. So it's that kind of more sexualized type of love, kind of like Eros in Greek mythology. So with Kama, and I'd never even heard of the god of love, Kama, until today when I was researching it. And then it dawned on me, the Kama Sutras stem from India, right? Kama Sutras, that book is all about, sexual interactions and different types of intercourse. And I thought, it's all coming together. So this particular god was depicted with a bow, and the bow was made of sugarcane, red sugarcane. And the arrows in the stories are feathered with red flowers. And the stories go of Indra pulling the bow and striking and piercing the hearts of people so that they could envelop their passion or feel that desire. It worked like a love potion. And so I thought that was really fun. Shiva is kind of an Rastafari, he's like part of the trinity of the Hinduism. philosophy. He represents transformation, and he's often depicted with the drum. And you call on Shiva to break through the veils of illusion and to break through ignorance and to do away with negative habits, to overcome fear, those sorts of things. And so Shiva is often depicted as his weapon of choice is also a bow made of sugarcane. And then I discovered that there's two more deities that are connected to the sugarcane bow, and that is Ganesha, which Ganesha kind of makes sense because Ganesha was the son of Shiva and Parvati, but it was also Lolita. And so I discovered Lolita is someone who comes up a lot in tantric yoga. And just to remind you, in the very classical form of yoga, it was all about meditation and sitting and doing purification rituals, whether it was breath work or other types of rituals to clear out the body and to be able to clean out the mind. And then when the tantric yoga came into more of a practice in India, they started emphasizing the body, looking at the body as being the temple, something very sacred that needs to be taken care of, that needs to be moved. So Lolita comes in with the tantric yoga aspect. But anyway, the bow being made of the sugarcane, and my favorite yoga quote that I want to share, since we're going to be building up to bow poses and creating sugarcane that represents the bow. I want to remind you of BKS Iyengar quote: "The body is the bow, and the asanas are the arrows, and the target is the soul." So since sugarcane is kind of like half moon, except you're holding your foot behind your back and creating a nice heart opening position. So it's a blend of balance and back bending. But the last thing I want to mention, remember it connects originally to Kama, the god of love, which is all about the heart. So when we get to that pose, know that you're strengthening and opening different parts of the body, but the idea is to maintain that nice open heart. And to remember that the symbology of sugarcane and what it represents with the bow is about the heart. So I'll meet you on the mat. We're going to start in passive crocodile pose. So in passive crocodile pose, you're actually on your belly. And the tops of the feet are spread out. You don't want to cross your arms too close to your chest because then the head doesn't have a place to rest. So your forearms are going to move ahead of your shoulders, keeping your chest lifted and then draping down to the brow. So in this pose, it provides a breezeway underneath the face so you can still comfortably breathe. Before we engage too much of the breath, I want you to notice this is a very passive and gentle back bend. So let the weight of the belly spread out. Feel that swoop or sway in your low back. And the lift of your chest and upper back. And while you're here, begin to turn your focus to your breath. Breathing slowly and deeply in and out through the nose. Notice the belly expanding on the inhale. Softening, releasing on the exhale. Just know that when we breathe in this conscious way, we're also helping digestion. And as we purify the lungs, it also helps to purify the mind. Now let's get active. So line up your legs so they're parallel, right alongside each other. Lengthen through your leg bones, the tops of the toes, and lift the face up. Align your elbows right up underneath the head of the shoulder bones. Let your forearms be parallel to each other in Sphinx. Your legs are so actively reaching behind you that the kneecaps lift away from the floor and the pubic bone is pressing down into the earth. When you're pressing the pubic bone down into the earth, you're tightening your glutes. Now retract the belly, lifting through the navel center, lifting through the sides of your neck and the crown of your head and gazing straight ahead. On your next exhalation, we're going to go ahead and sink back down towards the chest, spreading out through the arms just to give a little bit of a break to the low back. And we're going to reset here. The left forearm is going to cross in front of you. And you're going to pick up your right foot, turn your head to gaze back behind you, swish your hand around, find the top of the foot close to the big toe side. And you're using your arm like a lever to pull that heel down towards the outer thigh or hip. In other words, you don't want it to cross over towards your midline or tailbone. This is half Bakasana frog. And then once you have the hand on the foot and you're pulling it down, turn back to face ahead of you. Anchor through the left forearm and lift up through the breastbone. Continue to breathe in and out through the nose. And as you exhale, release. We're going to bring that right forearm to replace the left, picking up the left foot, taking your hand to hold the top, gently pulling it downward, again towards the outer framework of the leg. Turn back to face ahead of you, root down through the right forearm, rise up a little taller, and breathe. So in sugarcane pose, we really have to focus on a strong foundation. So it's going to strengthen the ankles, the calves, the thighs, but it's also going to open and stretch the hamstrings, the hips. It'll be opening to the chest and to the shoulder, and it'll improve coordination, balance, focus. So you can see how this will be a nice preparation for sugarcane. On your next out breath, go ahead and release that foot down. Slide your hands up underneath your shoulders, come down to the brow, and then push down through the palms to lift up to all fours and rock back into extended child's pose. So we just did 3 back bends actively after a passive back bend of crocodile. Keep your thighs knit together here. Arms outstretched to bring traction to the vertebrae. And flush to the pits of the arms. Affirming here that our prayers for all of mankind to live in harmony and in peace. Inhale, rock up to hands and knees. Exhaling, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Now, press through the mounds of your hands. Think about putting a little bit more pronounced pressure through the mound of your thumbs and index fingers and pinky fingers. Gripping the hands into the mat, soaring the hips as high as possible, and gazing back towards the feet. And then on your next inhalation, you can meditationally walk forward, you can lunge through, or float the feet through to the top of the mat. Lower down into your Uttanasana. Now I want you to imagine that you have a prong coming down through the base of your big toes. And press deeper into your mat at that section of your foot. And then apply that same principle to the mound of the pinky toes. And then as well through the center of each heel. And notice your calves firing up, your kneecaps lifting up, and your quads becoming more defined. On your next in-breath, keep rooting down through the soles of the feet. Circle the arms up and line them alongside the ears, coming to Urdhva Hastasana. Keeping the chin parallel to the earth, gazing straight ahead with your eyes. And then exhale, let's fold right back down to Uttanasana. Imagine that three-pronged plug stemming from the soles of the feet, pushing down into your mat. Inhale, lift and lengthen out halfway. Exhale, spill back down. Inhale, step it to plank. Take a full breath here. So in that balancing pose, we'll be standing on one leg and one arm. Shift forward, crank it down to chaturanga, and then all the way to the floor. Lift and lengthen each leg, point through the big toes. Shoulders roll back away from the face and rise up Bhujangasana. Again, tightening through the buttocks. Deep yogic breaths. And as you exhale, you're going to lower back towards your chest. We're going to take the left arm forward, create that pretty mudra, Jnana mudra for wisdom. Pick up the right foot, attach your right hand to it. We're going to do the hybrid pose that blends locust with half dhanurasana or bow. When you're ready, inhale, lifting all limbs, resting on your center, breathing with depth and control. A great way to recharge the spine, to give you this energetic boost at the close of your day. Exhale, release. Take your right arm forward, create the mudra. Attach your left hand to the foot. And let your inhale pick you up. And then focus on your breath. Master your breath to help master your mind. Master your mind to help to master yourself. Exhale, release. Bring your hands up underneath the shoulders. Curl the toes under, squeeze the arms in, lift the knees off the floor. See if you can defy gravity, lift straight up plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Refine your alignment here. And then return to your breath. Open up the underside of the belly and the back side of your knees. You can press through the feet. and fly up to the front side of your ankles. Now on your next inhale, let's lift the right leg halfway up. And then notice how we tend to buckle the arms. So apply more weight down into your hands, stretch back through your arms and out through that right heel. And then we're going to draw the navel in to step the foot all the way forward and up between the hands. Now this is a little different move than you're used to. You're going to sink the back knee to the floor. Your right hand will come to the inside of the foot and you'll turn your left calf back behind you. And then we're going to lift the hands, stack the hands to the hips. Look back at your right foot, make sure it's facing the top of your mat, and you're dropping and sinking through the hips, making sure you have that external rotation through that front thigh. Now from here, if you want to go a little deeper, rest the forearm on the knee, or take the hand to a block or to the ground inside the foot. Take that left arm and reach it towards the heavens above. Now we're going to thread the arm behind us because we need an open shoulder for sugarcane. So spin the top hand, thread it behind your back, maybe across to the inner thigh. Try not to collapse the chest or shoulder. The idea is to stay rolled open. Now looking at these postures, building up to sugarcane as part of our love potion. I mention a lot. There's two main columns of emotion, fear and love. The idea of doing these practices is returning back to the foundation of love. Now continue to lift that left hand, then bring it down to the floor. Shift the left shin back to your mat. Reframe the front foot. Curl the back toe. Step it to plank. From plank position, go ahead and rock back to downward facing dog. And from Adho Mukha Svanasana, take a couple deep breaths. When you're ready, lifting the left leg halfway up, Ekapada Adho Mukha Svanasana. Keeping that integrity of down dog, and then stepping that foot through, sinking the back knee, untucking the back toes. Left hand comes to the inside so we can swivel that back calf, bringing the hands up to the hips. Keeping that front knee aligned over the ankle so that shin's perpendicular to the ground. Going a little deeper now, leaning into the front thigh. Maybe setting the hand down to the sticky mat or a block. Heart spun open as you reach the right arm in the air. Preparing the shoulder by spinning the hand and threading it behind your back. Radiate the right arm upward, then spill the hand downward. Swivel that right shin back, curl the toes under, reframe the hands around the front foot. When you're ready, lifting the back knee, stepping to downward facing dog. On your next in-breath, yogi's choice, you can meditationally walk through, you can lunge through, or float through to Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, pour down. Activate those feet to work properly through the legs. So in a lot of postures, we want Tadasana legs. And even though we're not in Tadasana, we still want the same structure. And that's going to come into play with sugarcane as well. On your next in-breath, sweep the arms to your sides and up. Zip up through your midriff, create that locking lever at your belly. Look straight ahead with your eyes. All right, exhale, we're going right back in, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift and lengthen out halfway. Exhale, spill back over. Inhale, take plank. From plank position, take a full deep breath. Rock forward, lower down to chaturanga, hover and hold. And then inhale, you're gonna push the heart through and up to upward facing dog. Exhale, stay on your knees, rock the hips back. This is where we're gonna play around with the bolster. So if you slide your bolster in, and you can always use a pillow from your bed if you don't have one of these. Your hands will cross over to the front. Your hip bones will be right at the edge, and you're going to stay on the stilts of the arms. This is a really lovely way to do upward facing dog. It's very supportive, it feels more gentle. But it helps the spine get bendy and flexible. All right, so just laugh at yourself if you topple over the bolster, because usually that happens if you haven't practiced this before. But we're gonna lift the toes, right? This is like swan. And then we do have to let go just enough to be able to catch the feet, but then we flex the feet, draw the feet back behind us to crank the shoulders back to keep us elevated, and we're keeping the thighs on the floor for now. So this is one of our Dhanurasana bow poses. The body's the bow. The asanas are the arrows, and the target is the soul. So we've mentioned the god Kama, Shiva, the goddess Lolita, and Ganesha. All are represented by a bow made of sugarcane. All right, let's release. We'll lift up. That was quite a hold. So go ahead and slink back into child's pose as a counter. Give your back a release, some reprieve. And breathe down into the base of your back lungs. Now stretch the arms out, rock up hands and knees, curl the toes, launch into Adho Mukha Svanasana. When you return to downward facing dog, let the head hang between the arms. And when you're ready, we're gonna start with the right foot again. We're gonna lift the right foot up halfway. Push down into the hands, shine up and out through that right heel. When you're ready, swing that foot through to land, plant the back foot, float your hands up, come to stand. Now look at your back foot, make sure it's not perfectly parallel to the back of your mat or not turned in at a dramatic angle. Find that place in between for triangle. Open up the arms, push back into the hips, stretch out over the front leg, windmill down to triangle pose. So in triangle pose, I want you to notice When you're anchoring the feet and keeping the elongation of your side body, it should provide a nice opening through the growing muscle in the inner part of your thigh. And this is an area that we need to have open and prepared for sugarcane. Spin the top hand. We're going to thread it behind the back. Keep the chest rolled open and the breath free. On your next inhale, take the left arm up, cross it over the ear, rinse out the shoulder, gaze down, spin out of the back heel, take it to plank, building some strength in your muscles and bones. Exhale, pull back, downward facing dog. Once you align yourself here, take a cleansing breath in through the nose, sigh it out through the mouth. Inhale, left leg lifts. When you're ready, swing the foot through, turn and plant the back foot. Come up to prepare for Trikonasana. Open the arms out shoulder height. Keep both legs straight. Keep a firm foundation through your feet. And when you're ready, windmill into the shape. Be cautious with your neck. My tendency is I'm teaching to lift the head up. And so I have to ensure that I'm bringing the head lower. Most students tend to dump the head. And we need to keep the neck in line with the shoulder. Even roll the left shoulder back away from the ear. Now thread the top arm behind you. Triangle is always a good preparatory pose for Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. And half moon is the prelude to sugarcane. Now extend the right arm, cross it over the ear. Glance down, lunge that front knee, land your hands, step it to plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Open up your side body. When you're ready, inhale, meditationally walking, lunging, or floating to the top of the mat. From Ardha Uttanasana, bow out. Next in breath, bring it all the way up. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Samastitihi. We're going to do one more flow before we get to balance. Inhale, open up. Once you have all that extension, fold in half. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, bow out again. Inhale, plank. Hold and breathe. Shift forward, do that low push up. And then all the way to the ground. All right, so we're gonna go into the full bow. So if you don't want to do the full bow, you could do maybe the version that we just did with the bolster to make it more restorative. Otherwise, go ahead and clip your hands to the front side of your ankles, rest down towards your chin, and when you're ready, we're gonna lift. So breathe in and up. The arms are the string of the bow. Breathe in a diaphragmatic way. And notice how the breath brings the pose to life. It creates movement. Exhale, let's release. Bring the hands up underneath the shoulders, down to the third eye. Curl the toes, pluck up your knees. Defy gravity, find your inner reservoir of strength, and come straight up plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. From Adho Mukha Svanasana, we're going to work towards downward scorpion. So we're going to first lift the right leg up. And when I say up, I mean scissor up, point the toes much deeper than we went earlier. Bend that top leg. Roll out, sink the right foot down. Take it to the other side. Uplift your left leg. Bend it. Swirl open through the hips. So you can feel how it's stretching the groin, the hamstrings. Again, great preparation work for sugarcane. Release the left foot. Yogi's choice, meditationally walk, lunge, or float through to the top. Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold in. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. All right. We are ready to finally move into the pose, our peak pose for today, which is sugarcane. So the first thing I want you to do is take a block in your left hand. Look down the strip of your mat, and you're going to come about to the midpoint. Broaden the base of your left foot. Your left hand will go to the outside of the pinky toe, about a ruler's distance up. And then you'll shift and you'll lift into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. To move into sugarcane, we grab a hold of the right foot. We pull the foot back into the hand, and we open up more through the chest, as if we were waiting on Kama to shoot that arrow, that love potion, into the heart. As you exhale, take your time coming out. Release your hand to the foot and slowly, cautiously exit. Aha. I hope it was good. And you can face the same direction or you can turn around just to change it up. You'll land on your heel, spread the base of the foot, spread the toes. Bring that block with your right hand down to the ground. Open up, create some levity and lightness, half moon, but we're not staying there. We're taking the left hand to find the foot. And we're rolling open a little bit more. How sweet it is. You're ready. Release. Cautiously exit and come down. So I was teaching this pose at Unity this morning. And the studio owner, Tanya, had a great idea. And I'm going to try to demo it for you. Actually, I don't have too much room at this wall. But she was saying she had never done it. She goes, I wonder if you could do it against the wall. And I was like, well, the wall would block you opening into the back bench. She said, what if you turn the other direction? So in fact, I'm gonna move this light so you guys can see. See if I can get it. So if you want to try at home, so your standing limbs would be to the outside away from the wall, so that you could use the wall for support at your belly and chest. Take a hold of your foot, and then you can even lean your head back more. This is another way to do it. All right, we'll stand because we're going to do another balancing pose. Since the sugarcane bow was also related to Shiva, and Shiva is known to dance in the ring of fire, instead of doing dancing Shiva pose, we're going to do the dancing Indian. It requires a mudra, a pana mudra, 2 middle fingers with the thumb, almost looks like a hand puppet. We'll land on the left leg, open up the arms, and then we're going to flare the right heel up. And I'll turn to face you so you have a different angle. This is the beginning point. And if you're already struggling here and really wobbly, just stay. But if you want to dance, you hinge from your hips, cast your gaze down, the right foot goes behind you. And then you can inhale, bring it back to the front. So I don't know if you guys are connected to Stephanie Jones, who I do the teacher training with. She posted this photograph of her doing this position, but somehow with the camera, she got different angles of the arms. It looked really cool. All right, step your right foot down. Bring your arms into shape. We're ready for dancing Indian. Choosing to be here or creating the flow of movement. Hold it. And release. All right, we're going to do the twisting Kriya. Your arms are loose. Spinning side to side. Come back to center. Separate your feet. Lunge your knees. Come to squat. But in the yin version. Bowing your head to prayer hands. And so I want you to reflect for a moment when we were finally at our peak pose. Our whole practice was warming us up and increasing our awareness to be able to succeed at that pose. But I want you to reflect back. Where was your mindset? Were you becoming your own worst critic? Were you concerned about falling out? Were you telling yourself you suck at balance today? Because if you were going that direction, that was the opposite of promoting that self-love, self-acceptance. And so when or if you do that pose in the future, now you know its history and what it symbolizes. And we'll gently come on down. Now, this is what I would suggest. I would suggest Stonehenge since you have all the props, because think about all the back bends we did tonight. Consider the work that we did with the legs. So this will give the legs a prop. It'll bring some elevation, so it's good for circulation. And then this can be very supportive for the back. Once you have it set up, your hands can reside on or off the body. And your eyelids can close. Highly suggest an eye bag or towel over the eyes. And I always suggest taking a few deep breaths to begin Shavasana. We've been so focused on bringing certain alignment and engagement into the body. And now that attention is shifting from the body back to the mind. So just let your body take rest. And then you want to maintain your focus. You can do this by gazing into the mind's eye. You can do this by following the in and the outflow of your breath. Or maybe you just want to fixate your attention on the elixir of love. And if you feel like you need a longer amount of rest, you can stay. And if you're ready to complete this practice, hug your knees in. Roll to one side of your body. Come up to take a seat. When you're coming up to take a seat, open your palms on your lap. So I mentioned before we went into sugarcane those two main columns of emotion under the category of fear or love. I want us to end with the Marianne Williamson quote. Love is what we were born with, and fear is what we have learned. Bring your left hand over your heart and your right hand on top of that. Create these little wings. Return the eyes shut so that you can focus on your internal heartbeat. And bring your hands back to prayer position. The light in me honors and bows to the same within you all. Namaste.